familiar with that feeling when you look at the clock at 2 in the morning and tell yourself, okay, one more quest and then to bed? And then you look up, the birds are already singing outside, the sun is rising, and it's time to get ready for work or school after a generous hour and a half of sleep. If this is not just familiar to you, but a real life situation, then this top is for you. Today, we're going to talk about time consuming games, about those very projects that don't just fly by unnoticed, but literally tear chunks out of your life. I've gathered for you a dozen monsters that will devour your time completely, and I assure you, you won't even have time to regret it. So, are you ready to meet your new addictions? Let's go. Yes, friends, I know that for you, this game should be in first place. That's why I'm putting it at number 10, because RDR2 is not a game you sit down to play for a couple of hours. It's a game you live through. You don't play as Arthur Morgan, you live his life. I remember I was just planning to ride from point A to point B. In the end, 4 hours later, I was still in the same forest, hunting for the perfect pelt, fishing, helping some random passerby, and then sitting by the fire, grilling meat, and looking at the stars. This isn't gameplay, it's meditation. The beginning, yes, is a bit slow, but this is a case where patience is rewarded 100-fold. It's a masterpiece that eats up your time, not because there are a lot of quests, but because you simply don't want to leave this incredibly vibrant world. 10 out of 10, and this is just the beginning. And now for something completely different. Dredge is a small but extremely dangerous chronophage. On the surface, it's a cute fishing game in the style of Lovecraftian horror. In reality, it's the same principle, just one more day. You sit down in the evening, thinking, well, I'll fish until sunset, sell my catch, and go to sleep. And then you notice an interesting spot on the map. Then you realize that for new equipment, you need to catch a rare fish that only bites at night. And at night, the fog thickens, and something starts to emerge from the water. And there you are at 5 in the morning with red eyes, trying to get to port before monsters smash your little boat. A perfect example of how a simple mechanic and just one more go can steal your whole night. Just try it, and you'll understand what I mean. And here, my friends, we have His Majesty fan service in its finest form. If you grew up on the Harry Potter books and movies, then consider your free time officially endangered. You can spend hours here without even touching the main story, just wandering through the castle, discovering secret rooms, walking past the moving portraits, flying on a broom over the forbidden forest, brewing potions in the room of requirement, taking care of magical beasts. This is one of those rare cases where a typical open world isn't filled with routine, but with real magic. The game is made with such love for the source material that it's simply impossible to pull yourself away. Hogwarts Legacy doesn't just steal your time. It does it with elegance and a couple of spells to the back. The phrase, just one more cyber implant, became as destructive for me as just one more round in card games. Night City is a city that never sleeps, and it won't let you sleep either. Despite all the problems at launch, it is now a phenomenal, densely populated, and insanely detailed sandbox. You're on your way to turn in a simple order, and on the way, you see a side street. You go into some abandoned factory, find a computer with correspondence that reveals a whole tragic story, and now you don't even remember where you were going in the first place. The atmosphere of Night City is so dense that you can drown in it for hundreds of hours. And believe me, you won't want to come up for air. Oh, friends, this isn't fantasy. It's a harsh, honest, and incredibly deep medieval simulator. I remember how I hated the first few hours when my hero couldn't even hold a sword properly. But then I got into it. I started planning my day. Training in the morning, questing in the afternoon, hanging out in the tavern in the evening. I wasn't playing, I was living in this world. When all the quests were completed, I just rode through the forests, enjoying the scenery. That's what it means to truly devour your time and make you say thank you. From Software perfected the just one more boss formula. Elden Ring is a vast expanse that screams at you, come here, see what's behind those hills. And behind the hill is a new dungeon, and behind it a fearsome dragon. After defeating the dragon, you find a teleport to some crazy underground kingdom, and so on, ad infinitum. It's a Matryoshka doll of a game where each location hides 3 more within it. Losing track of time here is as easy as pie. You just walk, explore, die, and walk again, and so on until dawn. While perfect games may not exist, Elden Ring came so close that it became the benchmark time eater for an entire generation, a cultural phenomenon, a game that continues to steal hours of life from millions of players, even after more than a decade. Skyrim isn't just a game, it's a state of mind. You enter a tavern to wait out a blizzard, and half an hour later you're already making your way into a tomb because some drunk Nord asked you to. And then you decided to level up your smithing, and then enchanting at the same time. And then you have to get enchanted. Skyrim is the greatest master of distraction. This game has a soul, and it will gladly devour yours as well, proven over the years. Game of the decade, that's the case when you don't just do quests, but live inside each story. You worry about the fate of Geralt, Yennefer, Ciri, and even that random peasant you met on the road. The Witcher 3 steals time with the best side quests in the industry. You can't walk past an exclamation mark on the map because you know that behind it is not bring 10 skins, but a whole tragedy or comedy with a moral choice. And then there's Gwent. You want to play another game. The Blood and Wine DLC is a separate masterpiece game. If you haven't played yet, you simply must fix it. Best game of the 23rd year. Period. But seriously, BG3 is a black hole where weeks disappear. My first playthrough took about 200 hours. And you know why? Because after every action, after every dialogue, what if I had acted differently? And you reload and go a different way, and then you start a new game as a different character. The variability here is off the charts. It's a world that lives by its own laws and reacts to your every decision. You're not just playing, you're literally living in this fantasy world, and you don't want to return to reality at all. I highly recommend it, even if you're not a D&D fan. And here we are at the finish line. In first place, the main time eater in this hit parade is Among Us again, GTA 5. Why? Because even after so many years, there's still something to do in Los Santos. It's a sandbox game, the standard of the genre. You go in just to take a ride, and 3 hours later, you're already racing hypercars, fighting off the police with 5 stars, playing tennis, looking for UFOs, or riding a bike. Madness in its best form. And GTA Online has turned this game into a perpetual motion machine that never stops feeding its content. It's the kind of game you can come back to again and again and find something new every time. It has devoured more hours of my life than any other. It's a classic that will never die. Without a doubt, 10 out of 10. Well, friends, here they are, the main devourers of your time. Each of these games is a separate universe that you can fall into head first and only emerge a week later, looking at the calendar in bewilderment. I don't regret a single moment of the thousands of hours I've spent in these worlds. The emotions I experienced more than made up for all the time spent. I know perfectly well that each of you has your own personal top list. Everyone has different tastes, and that's wonderful. So let me know in the comments what games stole your time. It'll be really interesting to read them and maybe find some new games for myself. If you enjoyed diving into these memories along with me, please give this video a like. It would make me incredibly happy. Thank you so much for watching. Sending you a hug and good luck!